That was my first holy cow moment, was that 1.7 million, right? Because you're thinking of just, it would be like a big museum if we had to go chronicle a big museum right now. And 1.7 million, and then they're locked away. Like, people have no idea what's in there. So, I mean, the people who first walked in, I mean, did they have any idea what they were getting into? Did they think they knew the scale?
They didn't really know. So there was some conception among scholars, among art historians, there was kind of some conception of what might be in there. And some of the greatest works of art that were in there in the Imperial collections had been seen through Chinese history, and people had written about it, and there were commentaries about it. And some of this art, was 2,000 years old. We're talking about stuff dating back 2.5 millennia. So throughout Chinese history, some of this stuff had been known about, but the curators themselves didn't really know what they were going to find. So for them, it was absolutely revelatory. Day after day, they were literally opening drawers and pulling out these incredible works of art from 1,000 years ago and finding astonishing bronzes that had been written about by historians and scholars 17, 1,800 years ago. And they were finally seeing these things, laying eyes on them for the first time. So yeah, it was an absolute revelation. What they were seeing was a kind of a map to China's artistic and intellectual history. And they were suddenly kind of realizing that they had this incredible kind of patrimony on their hands, and they had to decide what to do with it. And what they decided to do with it, of course, was to make a museum out of it, just the way that their young republic, desired to have a great museum, just the way that Paris has the Louvre or the British Museum in London or the Met in New York. They wanted to have their museum as a great statement of national identity. So in 1925, they opened this kind of ramshackle museum without any proper lighting and terrible display cases. And they opened this up in the Forbidden City in 1925. And the Chinese public goes absolutely wild for it. And the Chinese public descends in their tens of thousands on this new museum. And the crowds are barely manageable, and nobody can see anything in the display cases because there are so many crowds. It's just an extraordinary moment in the development of modern China in the early 20th century. Was this foundation of this huge central cultural institution that was in some way embodying the aspirations of the young Chinese Republic.